Captain Kangaroo. Now don't tell me I've nothing to do. It's good to see you. I must go. I know I will go. Motherfucker!
Truth Unveiled here, and today we're going to be talking about the moon landings and the real truth behind it, because while they want you to believe that a crew went and actually landed on the moon, is that even really possible, and what really happened 50 years ago? Because while an estimated 1 million people gathered on the beaches of Central Florida to witness firsthand the launch of Apollo 11, while more than 500 million people around the world watched the event live on television, where were they really? Where was all of this filmed? And what really took place? And did they even go to the moon? But now you're going to see some footage and hear for yourself and see for yourself where these astronauts really were and really are. You're going to hear it straight from the horse's mouth themselves.
This question is for Chris. What was high school like for you?
Well, it was the 1980s, so the music was different, the hairstyle was different, the clothes we wore were different. Math and science were kind of my favorite subject. I didn't really like English and reading too much, but I've since grown out of that and I enjoy reading now. And I played a lot of sports. And all of that happened in a little town called York, Maine, across the United States from where we're talking to you right now. Across the United States from where we're talking to you right now. Across the United States from where we're talking to you right now.
Hello, my name is Steve Owen. I'm a teacher here at Riverside Prep. I'd like to ask you about the stress associated with the long periods in the space station. I'd like to ask Karen, what is the training that you get to cope with that stress and related psychological issues?
Well, for psychological issues, actually, when we are selected as astronauts, we go through quite a vigorous psychological screening process. You certainly don't want somebody who comes up here and has a breakdown or is claustrophobic. But also, we have, well, like Chris's background as a Navy SEAL and Luca's background as a test pilot clearly prepare them for high stress situations. I could also argue that going through the process of getting a PhD can be a high stress thing as well. And so generally when people get to the point where they're applying for this job, they've been through several things in their life that are high stress and have proven that they can handle it and that they can get through it. And then also once we start as an astronaut, for me who did not have a flying background or have the military background where maybe I was put under some of that stress in a very critical situation, we started flying T-38s, the jet aircraft that we fly. We started flying T-38s, the jet aircraft that we fly, and we started flying T-38s, the jet aircraft that we fly in the astronaut office. And for me, that was very good training because your life is on the line if you do something really silly or stupid in the airplane. Your life is on the line if you do something really silly or stupid in the airplane. Your life is on the line if you do something really silly or stupid in the airplane.
That is amazing. That is amazing. That is amazing.
You ready? Just keep telling me. Look back. Here we go. My hand looks like, oh, look at that. Yeah, oh. There we go.
To destinations beyond Earth orbit. Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's We only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. We only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go.
You gotta tell me what it's like to be in space.
What's it like to be in space? Well, it's a lot like being in the pool.
And interestingly, National Geographic was one of the prime media to present photographs of astronauts cavorting on the moon. So to summarize, what American citizens are confronted with is this enormous propaganda machine.
Where was I? Oh, yeah, Mars. That's right. I remember now. Curiosity is in Greenland. I know, sounds crazy, but I'm about to show you. So come along.
What you are about to see is bizarre.
So there I was, just minding my own business, looking at Google Earth, and this big snow-covered monstrosity is staring me in the face like, why is that covered in snow? I look into Ireland and some other areas around it, Iceland. Ireland gets snow only once a year, 1 day a year. So I keep digging a little bit deeper, and I finally get underneath this cloud cover here, and a few images pop up. And I say, oh, images, what are they? Well, this is what you got, which I'm sure that looks familiar to you, right? Looks just like the pictures they give us of Mars. So I'm just kind of creeping around here and definitely noticing the same kind of undulation changes and same kind of rock, same kind of dirt. Only thing that's missing is that nice little red tint that they pay somebody $150,000 a year to put on there. And then I see little things there. So, well, it's not Mars because they got some weird little tires and little ATVs over there. But I was just kind of looking around, see what we could find. There's another one of those ATVs, some antennas set up. But those mountains, those rocks, definitely exactly like we see on Mars. So I say, I wonder what they're doing out here. What is all this equipment for? I'm sure it can't be NASA, right? Whose orange Hummer is this? Okay, that looks like a NASA symbol. Well, let's dig a little further because I can't really see anything on here other than it certainly looks like a NASA symbol. And I can't read that. Tried. Cameras set up. Tents, ATVs, food. They've been there a while. It's not a one-day trip. Got their antennas set up out in the middle of nowhere in Greenland. Another ATV, a leveler equipment. So that was all that picture had. Let's see what this one's got. So this one here said roving the Arctic. So what is that? Doesn't make any sense. So pop in here. See if we can find anything. Again, same kind of mountains. That looks like the same kind of water I've seen before that I thought was water on Mars. Who knows? Zoom in. What's that? Oh, nothing. Just looked like it was funny. So I'll keep kind of going through here and see if it... What the... Yeah. So. I think I found out where Mars is, guys. It's just about 1,000 miles north of me. Not quite the distance that NASA says, but I can't find anybody who's in charge of this. They must be hiding behind these rocks. Oh no, there they are out in front of everybody, just standing there. Lovely. Clown number 1, clown number 2, and clown number 3. These fools.
For example, the U.S. Air Force has the largest movie studios and more equipment in San Bernardino than any studio in Hollywood.
Is an emergency, but like everything else, they're ready for that too.
Once the crew are on board, if it looks as if they're in danger, they get out and head down this tube, specially insulated against fire, and zigzagging down not to some point out and away from the rocket, but to an escape room exactly where you'd think it shouldn't be. minutes after they get the warning in the capsule, the crew could be down here in the blast escape room via that 200-foot escape tube, 40 feet below the base of the rocket. They find themselves in a totally rubber room, walls and floors, and they head for safety through a 6-inch steel door. Once they're behind that door, it doesn't matter what comes down this tube behind them. On this side of that door, the rarely seen blast escape room itself. It's totally isolated from everything around it by a series of 24 giant springs underneath the floor.
The space station itself is, I like to see pictures of it. It looks to me like it's an animation, like this was a cartoon. But the space station itself is, I like to see pictures of it. It looks to me like it's an animation, like this was a cartoon.
Trying to figure out how to come up with those workarounds and those solutions.
Right. So the snorkel, as I mentioned, this is actually a part that we can change out on the spacesuit. It's part of a waterline vent tube assembly, which is actually what runs from the backpack of the suit, and it's what hooks up to the liquid cooling and ventilation garment that the crew members wear. So normally these tubes will be passing water that's providing cooling around the crew member's body. So some smart engineers on the ground were able to figure out, hey, it's a similar diameter to a snorkel that you have for scuba diving. So what if we're able to, each waterline vent tube assembly has 2 of these tubes. So by just sacrificing one of our spares on board, they were able to come up with a way to just snip off the ends and then file it so that it's not rough in the crew member's mouth, and then apply Velcro. We already have Velcro inside the suit, which is what holds the drink bag up to the front part of the suit. So they were able to come up with this ingenious idea.
I'm standing on the International Space Station. I'm standing on the International Space Station. I'm standing on the International Space Station.
Well, not exactly. I'm standing on an underwater full-size replica of the International Space Station in a gigantic indoor swimming pool.
You gotta tell me what it's like to be in space.
I guess the unique experience is a really good way to describe it. There's one aspect, the part of being outside that is really similar to being in the NBL, the training facility, the neutral buoyancy lab, the big swimming pool we have at Johnson Space Center down in Houston. Everything looks the same in that swimming pool, but outside, there's a big Earth going by. There's sunsets and sunrises to kind of wake you up or brighten, kind of blind your eyesight, and so just the view is what's completely different. That's what takes your breath away when you're trying to get back to the business of doing your work, and amazingly enough, the Earth is just rotating by underneath you.
And, we talk about spacewalks, but it's a bit of a misnomer. It's more like space floating. You're really not out there walking. And I guess the best analogy I can tell everybody is if you could imagine yourself scuba diving in a suit of armor, that's about what spacewalking is like.
And the Wide Field Planetary Camera 2 is clear of the structure of the telescope, and now Foista will be maneuvered by Megan.
Well, the indicators look a bit different than what they do in the pool, but what I see is 2 black squares with a white dot in the middle. So I can describe to them what I see here, Chris. It's a lot different than the pool, so.
With the supposed Mars rover landing, is it really Mars or is it Devon Island, Canada? And really, the answers have been revealed to us right in front of us from the very beginning. How to know if you have been secretly brainwashed? If you don't find it odd that a child on a merry-go-round spinning at least 7 kilometers per hour must cling on for dear life until the ride stops so they can climb down and regain their composure on a planet so-called that spins at well over 1,000 kilometers per hour, then I'd say you have your answer. because it's impossible to be spinning at thousands of miles per hour, especially when you cannot even feel it at all. And if you're wondering about rockets and, well, when they launch the rockets, where do they go? It's so simple. They just go where? They drop down into the water. They cannot leave because they cannot leave the firmament. And this is all secret. All of NASA and all of them are Freemason agents. They've signed secret oaths and secret agreements and signed deals with the devil himself in order to keep this stuff a secret and not tell the secrets. And a lot of them are secretly transgender as well. Why is it that NASA cannot seem to make up their mind about how the Earth really looks? Because as you can see in all of these images, it looks different with different colors and different lighting. What? It's all photoshopped images. It's all fake because we're not really on a planet. We're really on the flat plane is where we are. And that is the plain truth, just like those planets that are not real, that do not even exist. It's all made up, it's all photoshopped, it's all a show, it's all a stage, it's all a big green screen. They film in zero gravity planes. That is how they're able to film when it comes to the moon landing, so-called, and film secretly in Hollywood studios and even with Area 51, just as you heard from the astronaut indeed. But you might be wondering, why are they doing this? Because they're getting ready for their alien deception. And in order to convince you that aliens are real, just like with these movies, well, what do they have to do? They have to brainwash the public to think that aliens are real when really they're just the fallen ones in disguise, and your governments have been working well with them for well over 70 years. And if they can do that, then the fallen ones or demons will disguise themselves as the aliens. And when they come and make this grand deception, making you think that it's the Messiah when really it's the false one, they're going to tell you secretly that, oh, they've come, and oh, that they're really your creators, and oh, that to accept their technology, and oh, they come in peace and they're coming to bring peace, even though the real Messiah is coming to bring war. But that is what they're getting ready for. That is what they're going to tell you. Your ID serpents, aka your presidents, have already told you this before.